or in the community? Were there no well-meaning worshippers to counsel them? The narrative reveals that there were times when worshippers attempted to straighten up the drifting priest, but they did not mind. In verse 16 of 1 Samuel, it is recorded clearly. 1 Samuel 2:16. The narrator says, "And if the man said to him, 'Let them burn the fat first, and then take as much as you wish,' he will say, 'No, you must give it now, and if not, I will take it by force.'" So there were times when worshippers attempted to straighten up these drifting priests, but they would not listen. Likewise, Aaron himself, who was a senior pastor and experienced priest, at some point advised them, but they ignored. In 22 to 25, verses 22 to 25, Bible said, "Now Eli was very old, and he kept hearing all that his sons were doing to all Israel, and how they lay with the women who were serving at the entrance to the tent of meeting. And he said to them, 'Why do you do such things? For I hear of your evil dealings from all these people. No, my sons, it is not good report that I hear the people of Israel, the people of the Lord, spreading abroad.'" And he went on to give a very important notice to them. He said, "If someone sins against a man, God will mediate for him. But if someone sins against the Lord, who can intercede for him?" But they would not listen to the voice of their father. So you see, even though they were experienced priests like their father, there were well-meaning worshippers who counseled these drifting priests, but they would not listen. They ignored. Sadly, this situation confronts ministry today. It confronts ministers today. There are many ministers who are leading congregations today who have clearly drifted. Yeah, clearly drifted, but have refused to listen to godly counsel from colleagues and from members of the ministry. So when people are going astray, there's a need for ministerial intervention. When young ministers are going astray, there's a need for ministerial interventions. Either the experienced senior ministers will counsel them, they will take their counsel, or well-meaning worshippers have the right to counsel these drifting priests in the church or pastors in the church. They ignoring the voices of their father, their senior pastor, and the well-meaning worshippers. What happened? What were the consequences? So let me now share with you consequences for desecrating the sacred, according to 1 Samuel chapter 2. Consequences for desecrating the sacred. The sin of the young men, of the young priest, was very grievous in the sight of the Lord, as confirmed in verse 17. As a result, number one, they and their hypocritical service would be rejected. That is what verse 30 says. Verse 30 of 2 Samuel 2. It says here, "Therefore, the Lord, the God of Israel, declares, I promise that your house and the house of your father should go in and out before me forever. But now the Lord declares, far be it from me. For those who honor me, I will honor, and those who despise me shall be lightly esteemed. Behold, the days are coming when I will cut off your strength and the strength of your father's house, so that there will not be an old man in your house." It's becoming very serious. So one of the consequences that they suffered was that God was going to reject them and reject their hypocritical service. And this is a lesson for ministers today, that when we continue to serve the Lord hypocritically, He will reject us and reject our service. Number two, the consequences were that they would not receive honor from the Lord. He said, those who honor me, I will honor them. Meaning that if the sons of Eli are not honoring the Lord by their behavior, the Lord is not going to honor them. They will not enjoy the honor of being part of the priesthood. You'll be dishonored. People will speak to you anyhow. People will disregard you. Number three, they would be disgraced. He said it in verse 30. They will be disgraced. Number four, their subsequent generations would lose that privileged position. This is even very, very sad. That per the actions of the priests of Eli, their next generation will lose the privileged position of becoming priest. Wow. He said it. He said, I will cut off your strength. When he says, I will cut off your strength, he means that I will cut off all the young people. Because the Old Testament says that young people, especially young men, are the strength of a man, the strength of a nation. So if the Bible says, I will cut off your strength, he simply means that I will make sure that all young people die. They will not grow up to an old age. So you will not even have people who qualify to be priests in your house. It is like today, there are some families who are royal families who are struggling to get right people, strong people, sound people to become chiefs. Majority of the people in the family have become women who do not qualify to become chief in certain contexts, certain cultures. The men that are in the family, many of them have become weak and sick, insane, who do not qualify to become chiefs. That's what God was telling the sons of Eli. Number five, the fifth consequence is that they would suffer untimely deaths. Just as I said, verses 31 to 34. They will suffer untimely death. So people who are in ministry, who disregard the Lord, who dishonor the Lord, who desecrate the sacred, one of the things that may befall them is that they may suffer untimely deaths. And we need to be careful when we are in ministry. Check it, verses 31 to 34. The text says, behold, the days are coming when I will cut off your strength and the strength of your father's house, so that there will no be an old man in your house. Then in distress you will look with envious eye on all the prosperity that shall be bestowed on Israel, and there shall not be an old man in your house forever. The only one of you whom I shall not cut off from my altar shall be spared to weep his eyes out, to grieve his heart, and all the descendants of your household shall die by the sword of men. So he said that even the one that I do not kill, all that he will be good at is that he will be good at weeping. That there will be too much problems that he will face, that you will be constantly weep. He will be in constant wailing. He will never be happy on this earth. And he said, and this shall come upon you and your two sons, Hophni and Phinehas. They shall be the sign to you. Both of them shall die on the same day. That's what the Bible has said. They will suffer untimely deaths. I've given you 5. 6 consequences for desecrating the sacred is that God will raise other faithful servants to replace them. You have the privileged position of becoming a priest or a pastor, a prophet, a teacher, an evangelist, an apostle, a bishop, whatever. But because of the acts of desecration, God says, I will raise other faithful servants. 35 of 1 Samuel 2. It says, and I will raise up for myself a faithful priest. When I have killed the priest and I have stopped their next generation family. And that is very pathetic. I will raise up for myself a faithful priest who shall do according to what is in my heart and in my mind. And that is exactly what happened. In Shiloh, God raised Samuel, who did not belong to the tribe of Levi, who was not part of the children of Eli. He was simply a servant, if you like today, manservant. But the priesthood now fell on Samuel because God saw him to be faithful. Lastly, the last consequence is that they and their descendants would become vagabonds and poor. In verse 36, the Lord said, and everyone who is left in your house shall come to implore him. Implore who? Implore the faithful priest that I have selected, who is not part of your family. They will come and implore him, mean they will come and beg him for a piece of silver or a loaf of bread. Look at that. Earlier on, because you were the sons of the priest, almost all the offerings that came to the temple, they were in your at your disposal. The bread, the show bread, the oils, all the goodies that people brought to the temple after the sacrifices. It was the priest and his sons that ate them. And now God has taken the privileged position from you and he has given it to a faithful servant. And what he's saying is that you are going to be a vagabond, a poor person. Now you will be begging that new for a piece of bread. This is very pathetic. Very, very pathetic. A piece of bread. And he said that, and you shall say, please put me in one of the priest's places, that I may eat a morsel of bread. You'll be so hungry that you will say, let me join the priesthood, at least for service, so that I can get a small bread to church members. There are good churches and there are bad